Happy Saturday, everybody. So today, Mr. Hank has picked for us footwork, which is something we talk about all the time in kind of passing, but nothing we've ever really concentrated on just a class for. And so this class is literally all going to be about footwork. It's not going to probably be the most strenuous class in the world, but technically you're going to be very picky on things. But I think hopefully by the end you'll be surprised, like, oh, that actually really helps a lot. So, there's a couple of major things in footwork. It's not just taking steps and moving feet. We've talked a lot about weight shifting and stuff like that. We're not going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about two distinct angles to start with: distancing and alignment. All right. The two distinct angles are, we always talk about 45. We're at 45. We're going to talk about 135. All right. If we look right now, this would be 90 degrees to this foot, 45 degrees out from this foot, 95 plus 45 is. Like 90 plus 4.
Yeah, you got it.
135, right? So you see my feet are open at a 135-degree angle. You see that? That's your base Ishimoji. That's your base Jumoji. All right? This here. All right? So that angle, 135 degrees. 90 degrees, Yokoruki. Taking 90 degrees here with my feet. You see that? All right? So we'll look at that in a second. We're going to be interchanging these two. We're going to interchange the 135 and the 90. Okay? Now, our part, distance. Great, okay, so this is the physical place I want to be. How far do I need to be away from my opponent? Distance in that footwork, and then weight distribution. Am I here? Am I here? All right, does that make sense? All right, so that's what we're going to talk about. Angling, distancing, and alignment in regards to the footwork. So first, let's look at this 135 degree. Just give me a right lunge punch. Perfect, okay. Now, this is where he's landing. I'm at 135 degrees, right here, right down to the center. There's my alignment. My distancing, I can hit him, he reaches out and all right, so my alignment is preventing him from hitting me. I can hit him, and my stance is a little bit about 60-40 backward weight. All right, and this is Ishimoji. Again, not really concerned with the hands, want to look at the balance. Now, if I was, say, 80-20, yeah, boom. But, if I adjusted my distancing, okay, so angling, weight distribution, all this comes into play. Does that make sense? If you notice, my shoulders are roughly about the same position. My lower body is just different. Hence, my weight adjustment is different. I still have my muscle. All right, you're going to show weight distribution different, bodies in the same place. All right, you see that. All right, so for a couple of minutes, just this comes off. Don't worry about the hands. They're gonna launch a right lunge up you. And you're gonna try to see if you can get into that alignment. 135 degrees, point right down the middle. I should be able to touch him. No, half an inch too close, especially those arms. Oh. Or really good. All right, just see if we can move to that. Don't think about anything other than just getting out of the way. It will take you a couple times, get the alignment, check the distancing, and I want this time, I want your weight to be kind of 60-40 back. All right, 135 degrees, enough so I can touch him. He can't touch me. Weight about 60% back. Okay? Perfect. We're talking about distancing, we're talking about angling, talking about weight distribution. One way that I used to look at this a long time ago was, this was my distance foot. All right, so if I'm something all right, this is the one that got me out of the way. All right, that's the one that got me out of the way. Now from here, I'm at one point, right? The alignment is then decided by this foot. All right, so I got my distancing leg and I got my alignment leg. All right, I'm a little far out because I went a little too much with this distancing leg. All right, do you see that? So if it helps, and I've had Lynn, because you use Yokoruki, you can reverse it. All right, so if you're using a Yokoruki, this is my angling foot, this is my distancing foot. All right, so I go the angling foot first. But again, the one that's going to wind up inside is kind of your angled foot. This is your distancing foot. All right, so if you're going from this with this right coming out first, think that that's going to go over here, and this will line me up. Boom. Smidgen close. Another. Smidgen close. So I would need to be here. Okay. All right. So that's distance foot to get you out of the way, and then set this one up as the alignment foot to get you lined up. All right, that toe should be pointed, and because visually you can see that this toe is pointing right to them. All right? You'll be able to check if your angling is right onto them, if they smack you or not. All right, keep going.
Here's a note, and I'm sorry guys, I'm gonna inject some cruelty.
All right.
So one of the things I'll notice when people work on this kind of drill is they will, and this is a case where again we have to be careful with our language. We're saying footwork, we're talking footwork, and what Mr. White's saying is here's how the feet look. Here's how the feet look, and we might be forgetting that this is still hip driven. So that right punch is coming in. One of the things I'll notice, do you guys see this knee of mine?
I do now.
Yeah, nice. I know, right? There we go. Nice. So it's like Little Mermaid 2 over here. So what happens is everyone can see this knee kind of collapsed in. If I were to draw a plumb line from that knee, it is not falling over my ankle. So Mr. White, I like what he's saying about kind of having your distancing / position foot and angle / alignment foot, right? We can also say hip. This is my distance and position hip. This is my angle hip. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come around with this. And if I see knock knees, guys, you're getting a smack. Fix those knees. Open those knees. Then I guess close your knees if you want to smack it.
Mechanics of what's going on. So, very tempting on this back foot to keep it more here at a 90. All right, so if this person's here, this back foot is at a 90-degree line. All right, I don't feel incredibly stable here. My alignment is good because I'm on the line, but I kind of feel tippy. So what people do naturally is to get a better feel is they put this foot out a little bit. So now they can really kind of get down there. But wow, my line's going that way. I'm not on the center line anymore. You see that? The reason why I think this happens is because this is comfortable. I can squat down in this comfortably. If I'm here, I cannot squat down really more than here comfortably. It physically just doesn't feel right. I want to put this foot in. Now I can get low. If this foot was at 135 though, I can squat down. It's the difference between like a regular deadlift and a sumo deadlift. Toes are turned out. The knees are tracking out, so this leg isn't holding up and I can still squat down here and keep my alignment. That's what I was saying, it's 135. I'm seeing a lot of people come to 90 here, and that's being a problem. All right? Now, if you have issues where you just can't be like that, fine, we'll adjust for that. But get this to 135, now you can stay on the line better. So people get a 90, and because they don't feel comfortable, they're going out to here and they're winning the alignment. Does everyone see that? Try it for a second. Stand on the line, get your feet out at 90, get kind of moderately weighted, so one toe's going out, the other one's making that 90-degree angle. Yeah. So actually have this one pointing right straight to knee hang, and have that one pointing straight up, both heels on the line, and just squat down, and see how far you get to the kind of like, it hitches, right? It hitches. Now, turn this foot out to 135. Now squat down. A lot more better range of motion there because the hips are opened up. You're not jamming into that top hip flexor. But now you're also keeping on that line. So as you step out to this, you can move you can direct the toe out. This is an old trick, I can't remember who taught me this a long time ago. But as I was stepping out from that, it wasn't just moving off like this, because now I'm at that 90. And since I want to be comfortable, I'm back here, I'm over here, but my alignment's off. Steer that toe, just like you're aligning this toe in the end, align this toe in the beginning. And now I can get there, I can get in that comfortable spot. Alignment's good, I can squat and I feel mobile at that point in time. If that helps you, great. And that also too helps keep that leg in a little bit more. Because when you get to 90, the temptation is then to turn. That knee collapses because you're trying to square up and now your alignment's totally messed up. Okay? Go for it. Does everyone see what I'm talking about? See the three glasses to that?
The way I kind of interpret it,
there's an actual uneasiness being like this. You have to get over it. All right, you'll get used to this. Trust me. Miles is going to punch me right down this line. He's going to punch me right down this line, so back that his center, his belt, will wind up right here on this corner, right here. But he'll wind up like this, going down this line. I'm going to start here. I'm going to step out on this line and line up with him. So if you can make that punch, belt landing right there, belt landing right over that point. Now it's just a distancing thing for me. My alignment's good. My alignment's, my feet's good, okay, my alignment's good. Now it's just a distancing thing. So let's take one of the perimeters out of there, all right? So the person who's going to punch is going to punch. You're going to start on this like a point, pick a corner, then you have a line going out. He's going to punch you right down this line, and his belt is going to wind up right there over it in the end. All right? You are going to step off straight diagonally on this line, get that 135, and see if you get the distance. Okay? That way, we don't have to check your feet, and you don't have to check yourself. You know if your feet aren't on this line, because he's going to be there, you're wrong. Okay? Good. Just as important, the spread of my legs on this is a big deal. So now, here, even though I still have that 135, you can look at, wow, if I'm here, man, I feel really tippy. I feel really tippy. I have him, I punch shit back just a little bit, I think I'm good. Okay? I don't feel comfortable here. Right? Because I can't squat. My hips, if you draw a line up the outside of my hips, are going into my knees. That doesn't work. I can't squat. I can't get my legs out far enough. And with it, it's like, turn. When you get this Tibbins feeling, actually go wider. I feel more stable. My hips are now in between my legs. I can squat down. That gives me the comfortable feeling that I want. Now, right here, people have a tendency, they'll be here like, oh, it's, and they'll put their foot up here. Get that balance. Totally effed up my alignment. Right now, we're going over there. Go wider so you can actually see the sides of your hips should be on the inside of your knee. It should be pretty cozy right here. And if you have to spend the time, like, okay, don't feel good, find that spot for yourself, like, okay, I like, oh, now, okay. Fine, figure it out. Know the feeling, because in the end, you're not going to be fighting on a fucking checkerboard. All right? You're going to have to know the feeling that you're looking for. So you gotta find that feeling now.
There we go. Everybody, to please roll your cat legs above your knee. And
It's good free time, guys.
Yeah, and there we go. We're gonna keep them there for a while. We're going wading in a river or something. Some sort of strange
Tick check.
tick check for real.
Show off
It's that
the
time of
tick.
year. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you check daily for black-legged ticks. Ixides scapularis, if you like Latin. The reason why I'm doing this is because I really don't want to lose focus on the structure that this is supposed to be providing. And it's too easy to lose focus on structure. We're looking a lot at angle and distance and ultimately position. And it's really hard to kind of take all these corners of this square of good taijutsu. You focus on 2 or 3 of them, it's easy to lose focus on one. So we're rolling these up because I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this. I want you to be able to look down and see the relation of your knee to your ankle, to your heel, I should say. So a couple structural issues that are coming up here. Issue number one, knee too far forward over toe. So I'm on this line, this punch is coming in, I'm doing a limb version, and I'm stepping in, and my weight's too far this way. If I were to drop a plumb line from the tip of my knee, we can see it's out over my toe. If I pick up this foot, which way am I falling? Directly that way. Directly that way. And right now my foot's working, my calf is actually working a lot to maintain this position. Cool. I'm going to put my foot where it needed to be. Oh, that feels a lot better. I'm working a lot less now. And now I can pick that up without falling. Here, I pick it up, I'm immediately falling. I lose choice. I lose freedom, and I want you to have freedom of choice in the way that you move. I want you to be able to go to McDonald's and fighting and be able to choose from 8 options on the menu, not just a kissing. So, thing number 2 I'm seeing, rear knee too straight. Do you guys see how I'm landing on my heel and the outside of my foot? My foot is almost supinated, just like how I supinate a hand, I can supinate a foot. What happens is, if I were to drop a plumb line down from my knee, it falls to the outside and back of my foot. How do I fix that? Well, let's put that foot where it needs to be. Okay, great. Now that's a nice straight line. Cool. We're pretty happy. Issue number 3, which we've already talked about, knock knees. I've moved, I've gotten this in a position, but my knee is too far in. This is really common, especially if you're trying to really widen the stance. Mr. White wants you to really practice. Can we get to here? This is good practice, and it's actually good flexibility work for your hips. It's not bad to have flexibility in your hips, guys. Welcome to America. We don't generally tend to have that. This happens because people's the inside of their thigh is too tight. Their knee pulls in. This is too weak. You can't externally rotate the leg.
And also, third reason, they don't realize they're unblading themselves and they put their right shoulder forward and they collapse that whole side down.
Yeah, shoulder's not coming. Shoulder's not coming with
Right, and it's turning that whole thing in there.
Yeah, so here. So, all right, where do I need to put my foot for it to be right under the knee? Right there. Oh, much better structural fix. We're feeling pretty good here, and we can still squat down pretty good. You'll notice that when you're doing this, when you squat, the most stretch you're probably feeling is on the inside of your hip. That's the opposition muscle to what you're doing. That's what you're going to be feeling work. So, if I do this and this says, nope, you can't go any lower than that, I'll bring these in just a little bit. Cool, I got a bit more flexibility. It's not this, right? Everyone saw my knees come in, it looks awful. It's like some sort of, bad dance move, I don't know. Here we are. I wanted to bring these up to you guys because every single fix involved putting my heel back under my knee. If we're going super wide, we'll go extra super duper wide if I can get that much. Here I'll go extra super duper wide. Yeah, this is really wide. Maybe a hair too wide, yeah? Would we agree? But I can tell you that this knee is open. It's not here. There's a difference between here and here. Whoa, that's a bit of an extreme position on the hip. We'll bring them in just a little bit. Still a little wide, but easier to maintain this. This is about the width that Mr. White is working with right now.
Yeah, he needs to have room to squat down, and if he's so far out, he can't squat down because that means if you squat down, it means your knee has to get over your foot. If you're so far out to begin with, that means no way in hell is going to go over that foot. Your legs would have to extend like it's start to gadget. It's not going to happen. You need to set yourself in a position where it's pretty darn close to vertical to begin with. If not how low, be able to have that knee pushed down. You won't be able to squat from there. You won't be comfortable.
If you're so wide that you drop a plumb line down from your knee and it's way behind your heel, well, let's put our heel under our knee and let's straighten back up. Oh, still wide.
Yeah.
This is still pretty wide, but I know that I'm structurally sound here.
Yeah, you can squat right down there easily. It's comfortable.
So do this to yourselves. Use a Hummo for a plumb line or a Kusari if you want. But literally, coach your knee and feet to be in the right positions underneath you as you work on this. That's all. And keep those pant legs rolled up. It's hot in here.
It is? I thought
No, it's not. If the AC's running.
Two, we need to make this feel comfortable. All right, so if I'm off on this line, and I'm here, and I'm like, I kind of hold myself, I kind of feel stuck. Like I have to stop and hold this position. I'm uncomfortable. If I have to hold this position, I am very much stopped me from moving to the next position easily. All right? So I'm like, yeah, okay, here, I got it. Yeah, that looks good. Can you move? Nope. Now that I'm doing something dramatic. So if that's the case, then alter. You should be comfortable here. This should feel like the first part of sitting down. All right, so I went to a chair and sat down. First part of sitting down. Right? I can move, I can shift my weight, I'm actually feeling pretty good. I can move back and forth, feel pretty stable. You should have that feeling, all right? Also, watch out if you're like this. My center line should also be over this line. My hips should still also be over this line. All right, if I'm going like this, that means I'm subconsciously tippy and I'm adjusting for it by altering my top and bottom. Hold this in. This will be over line 2. More straight up, more straight back. All right, and then say, okay, do I feel comfortable there it is, stuck. Okay, well. Okay. I can work from here. I can do that. I can move, I can shift my weight. So if you can't shift your weight, if you're stuck, you can't shift your weight from here, you can't do a damn thing. Alright, so now find the comfort. Find the comfort in it, okay? Go on.
Add something here.
So I just had this in my note. Let's talk a little bit because Mr. White was bringing up something that I like as well. We can do this all together. Hey, what's my actual operating range here? So on one side of the room I have Hank. How old are you, Hank? 28. Pretty healthy guy. You're pretty active. You're out doing a lot of stuff, farming and all that stuff. Hey, how wide can you do a split? Just out of curiosity, how wide can you do a split? That's okay.
That's good.
That's perfect. Good. Notice you.
Things like going.
You're getting to the point. You're getting to the point where you're pretty wide. You don't have to ugly. Once you guys start ugly butting, that's when you know you definitely hit whatever peak of your movement is. Lynn, how far can you get your feet apart? We've talked about kind of having some hip issues and stuff like that. Yeah. So. No. We're doing this not because we're trying to be like, oh, okay, great, we're gonna learn how to do splits today. That's not it. This is yeah. As soon as we have to start doing this, what that's doing is that's relieving some of this inside hip and hip flexor to say like, oh God, I can't go any further. So we can easily agree that we have differences in how much angle our joints can move through comfortably, right? I hope we can all agree with that. So when we're working on when you're working by yourself, because we know you're doing solo work, this is a good time to say, okay, I'm going to take Ichimoji. I'm going to do Ichimoji, and I'm going to do this the widest I possibly can. Here's the absolute widest that I can do Ichimoji before I'm like ugly button or feel like my groin's going to tear. Okay. Conversely, on the other side of the spectrum. What's the most narrow I can do Ichimoji from? Pretty high up, clearly. But my feet are right together. I've got that 135-degree angle going on. I could actually still feel a stretch inside my middle hip here. Okay? I could still feel a little bit of a stretch. But if I were to say, okay, great, walk from here, this is not really it's not really an effective place for you, right? That's going to feel really bad. Let's go back to wide again. Super wide. Great, walk from here. You can tell, again, not good, not natural. This isn't the way that God put you on earth to move. Let's move our feet together 6 more inches. Walk. Still feels a little like okay, great. We're a little too wide there still. Let's bring them up together a little bit more. Another 6 inches. Now walk. Okay. I'm starting to feel a little bit better, but I can find myself definitely going kind of heel toe a lot. It's maybe a little less smooth. 6 more inches together. Cool. All right, now we're kind of getting within an operating range. Now we're in a spot where, hey, we could do that box drill from earlier this morning. I could do that at this width. I can do it from this width, but you don't want to look at it, and we certainly don't want to put that shit on camera too late. Cool. We've kind of hit the bottom end of that range. Let's go back up high. We've done this really narrow one. Cool. Show me a box step. Oh God, it's awful. Terrible. Let's move them 6 inches apart. Probably soften the knees a bit. Oh, this is starting to get a lot easier already. Great. Let's bring them 6 inches apart. Oh, there's my spot. There's my spot. For me, my feet fall about maybe just at or just outside of my own shoulder width. That's about, like if I'm angled at the camera right now, that's about, if you were to drop a plumb line from my shoulders to my heels, about my width.
And his hips would fall right between the inside of his legs.
Yep, it's these nice up and down lines. There we go. So now whether I'm doing, this footwork, oh, I kind of have this idea of where my width is. I know the channel in which I can operate. Okay? It's important for you all to know that for yourselves because for you it's different, for you it's different, for you it's different, you, it's different. For you, it's different. It's important to figure that out. So let's have a little fun with that. Let's play with a bit of a different footwork for just a moment. We're going to play with a backwards leap and a forward leap because we're ninjas. So why not for just a moment? Let's all line up right on this line. And here we are. We might need to spread out slightly. That's okay. I'll back up just a little bit. So we're going to kind of play with this. Forgive me, I'm forgetting the name of the step in Japanese. Something ashi. It's some ashi. It's some ashi. Clearly the Japanese name is samashi. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of start at about that natural width that we were just exploring. Let's start right there. We don't have to start any closer. We don't have to start any further away. Natural width. I'm going to pull with my back foot to let my body come back, and then I'm just going to let my feet fall. Again, to show this a little closer this way, I'm pulling with this leg and hip to move back. And you're going to notice that if you were to freeze frame this midair, my feet are crossed. Boop, there it is. There's this moment where my feet cross in air. Okay? So what I'd like us to do is you're going to start over on the near end. I want to do it over here just because that's where I was. We're going to start on the near end, and we're just going to practice going down, pulling with the back leg, going right here. Once we get back to here, then to move forward, we're going to pull with the front foot to sort of add this leap forward. Does everyone see that? Good. Treat this as an exercise for 2 minutes, forward and back. So we're looking at this kind of like minor leaping skill, right? Why would we do this first off? Well, I think I was joking around like all of a sudden somebody throws a chihuahua and it's right up at your face. Jesus, you might just be trying to back out of the situation and you need to cover ground. You need to cover it quickly. The idea here is, I'm not sitting here saying, oh, there's the chihuahua. And the humble. No, we're immediately trying to get out of an area fast. So note number 1. We still want to maintain some control on this. So it's not going to be this. Watch the parabola. Where, as Mr. Moore was mentioning, it's not a quad pop. We're not kind of going boink. We're actually going to try to stay relatively low. Imagine there's a low ceiling. How would you keep your head low into the ceiling? We're still covering. Let's see how far we cover in just one forward step. A little bit more than, these are 6 feet long?
Yes.
Yeah, so about 6.5, 7 feet, fairly easy. Continue to work on this, try to stay low, less boing, and make sure your alignment is pointing toward where it initially was. Monte, let's play with one variable, which is the width of your feet, and then we're gonna apply this. So let's take our feet. Right now, we found our sort of natural operating range, right? I'd like you to try this. What I'd like you to do is now start trying this outside of your regular operating range, and we're going to start by going a little wider. So kind of in this wider range. I'll tell you what. If I want to go further with this, I will go wider with the initial setup. So if you're looking to cross more distance, imagine wide. Narrow, wide. That was a little high, sorry, it's a little bit loose. But a little wide. I want to go back really far. Ooh, there we go. Cool, we're looking pretty happy. So start to play now with your width and how much distance that is. In fact, here's one for you. Here's one for you. Here's one for you. What a funny guy. No. Yeah, one for you. All right. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to take, start a little wide, take your pull, land, drop that shuriken right by where your ankle is, and then go back to your first starting spot and beat that distance. Let's get to the mirror. Let's get to a spot where you don't have someone directly to your left or right. And we're going to start with the left foot forward. Let's do Tobiashi to the side. We can certainly step out wasn't that big. It's like a very big sort of jumpy version of the box drill we were doing earlier.
Pull with the leg going sideways will seem easier.
Cover. One little note on Tobiashi to the side. If I'm trying to cover a lot of ground and I'm straight up and down, what I'm going to find is I'm going to be a little tippy. Heads up. Heads up. Shoot. You all kind of see I have to take that sort of cheat step. I'm a little topply. One of the things I'll do is I'll add a little bit of lean this way. Just a hair. Just to be able to catch this angle on the leg. Oh, there we go. Now I'm not falling over the top of that. So if I'm going right, I'm going to maybe put that out a little wide, just for the landing. Just so I'm not landing here and having to step and fall. We don't want that. So you guys can see, yeah, this is why we have the panelings pulled up, so it's clear where the angle is on the lower body. You guys see that little bit of angle off to the side here? That can help control the catch. There we go. Looking good.
Fun party trick. So I want to get the 90-degree angle with the upper rookie just the last time. So we looked at this where Miles was punching me down this line. He was ending the air. I was stepping off and I was checking my angle. All right, I probably should whip back a little bit. Oh, I'm all right. And it took my nose here this morning. All right, now let's look at Yoko Ruki. All right, so I'm starting from the same position. He's going to make the same punch. He's going to wind up there. All right, but instead of going out this way with my distance leg, I'm actually going with my angling leg first. Too close. Right, you can do that. So that means I need to step and sink deeper, and then wind up. All right, so now we're going to go with the angle foot first. All right, so just before we were going 1, 2. I'm now going to go 1, 2. Right? 2. Okay. All right. So we're going with angle foot first. This is called Yoko Ruki. So if I was going this way, it could have been 1, 2, or it could have been 1, 2. But why in the same position? I'm just starting with the other foot first. And because I'm starting that first, crossing over, I'm starting with my alignment foot first. And you need the alignment first, and then we get the distance there. Okay? Just a couple of times, just to try. Yeah. So I want you to try the opposite. Just to see how it feels. Just see how it feels. I want you to step up like this. So you've been doing this all day, right? All right, so I want you to do it at the right time. Okay. So before this, so I was talking about, and we showed them with Hank, about how far can you do your sprint. I can't go this far. I'm worried about my groin right now. There's the aspect of spreading your legs like this, straight out. But there's also the aspect of turning my hip in my hip socket, just like I'm rotating my arm, right? That's why Mr. LeBay can get to the same position here, right? He didn't have to go like this. He could say, I got the same position here because he's rotating his hips in his hip socket, all right? Now, what's kind of funny about this Yoko Ruki is if I stay straight up, because what I'm doing is I'm rotating my hip and hip socket, right? And stepping over here. Well, it only rotates so far if I'm perfectly erect. So if you take your foot, just kind of put it out in front of you, just a smidgen. So about 5% of your weight is if you perfect, and you turn it, and you just turn from your hip. You see, it only goes so far, and it just naturally stops. Do you see that? You can't really turn anymore. I want you to now sink into this knee, and I want you to continue turning that foot.
As your hip flexes, your hip can also externally rotate further.
Correct. Correct. So the lower you get to the ground, you physically can turn that foot more. Do you see that? Even more interesting, as you sink down, it'll turn. If you actually sink down and actually step into it, it can actually turn even more. So you should find yourself actually almost fully weighted on this at the end. All right. So again, right from the kind of almost like your big toe, stand perfectly erect, turn your hip socket, sink down into it, and just watch that heel come around even more. All right. So we know in this Yoko Ruki now, it's like, wow, it's actually more beneficial if I sink as I do this. So as this drill's coming along, instead of just going, okay, because I see a lot of people kind of getting short and this isn't quite aligned up, and they get to here and their foot's flying, this one's going this way instead of here. Sink into that first step. Okay? And I think you'll find out that your alignment foot will be in a lot better position because of that. Go ahead. Practically working more time swings. So I'm going to replace Hank. Miles are going to punch me. But instead of Miles having his belt be here at the end, I'm going to move Miles back a little bit. So basically, it's going to be more his, say like your elbow is going to be over that point. So you're punching through me. All right? So he's going to come down and just check the distance. Boom. Okay. Yeah, well, but yeah, it's almost like his toe is going to kind of end right there. Maybe an inch or so shy of that. All right? And actually, you know what? Switch around. Make it a left, please. Wind up in the same position, just so I can keep the footwork the same. So you're right, a little short right there. Okay. I'm going to do the same step. I'm going to put this arm up. I'm going to start from behind the line, just what I was before. As he comes in, all right, I'm going to get that alignment. All right. Now, I'm offline because I'm being determined to stay on that line. All right, but I'm lying where I was. If Miles was down there, he would be fine. That's right, so you have to come back so your belt comes over that. All right, good. Punch this over the left hand. Yep. A little tighter, but we see kind of now I can actually move that actually to scratch at the side. Just my weight. Go from there. All right. So I want you to just take that. Don't worry about the actual line. Just can you get to a Yoko Rookie movement? And now instead of getting the outside arm, getting the alignment, as it's coming in on that, I'm actually going to stick with an arm and just get it in the way. Just move off the side a little bit. All right, just have proof that you can work inside a little more harsh environment. Well, let's. Last part. So obviously, we're not going to be fighting on lines. All right, and it's not going to be what's happening. It's not going to wait. You're going to punch me in a second. I got to stand right here, and now I can do. I can kick your ass in this cube, but that's not going to happen. All right, I need to be able to adjust in real world environment and still find that same place. Now, a lot of that is just repetition, timing, just training, just seeing it over and over again. As a general rule, though, if you punch from any angle and just stop, right? You know, line, whatever. Okay, I know I need to be 90 degrees to this center line where his shoulders end. All right. A lot of people say step off on a 45. All right. Now, that works perfectly because he played himself well. But if he was here, that man has me. I don't have it. I need to be here. I need to be perpendicular to where his shoulders end. So I can tell this guy is not fighting in the first place. Right? You're getting time. So if you're like, okay, I don't have my line, I don't have my line, I don't have my 45 rules are generally a not really decent rule. It will get you within a margin of 10 or so degrees. Alright? But as he's coming through, you see, and that's why alignment foot too is like getting that distance that I need him. Alright? Feel comfortable. Alright, so for a couple minutes, go back, let's do this in more time space. Let's take the line out of the equation. You know where you have to end. You've done it all day. You know exactly where you have to have it when you need that. As he throws that punch, he's going to turn. You're going to fold right into that spot. All right, you're going to feel his energy turning meters. I'm going to go right there, where you've been going all day long. Does that make sense? Go slow. Attackers, go big. All right? You're looking at it is turning, and I am adjusting to that. You can usually go through, you can step off the outside. I don't care. I'm going to suggest you probably step off of this one if you're doing that more. Go to the more. All right, and when you feel more comfortable getting to it again, I'm not throwing this, I'm basically making this into 3D again. All right, go slow, go big. All right, and find that position. No, we're just going back. It's just a regular punch. So the one that, basically the drill that we were doing on the line, where I was punching you and you were just moving off to the side and being lined up with me, we're now taking the lines out of play. And I'm just throwing and you're going to find that position. Okay?
He throws a punch.
Oh, it's long, short, some off?
Yeah, it was usually pretty easy stuff like that. You gotta throw it. Can I go this one? No, that's fine. So, right there. So, if you can imagine, his shoulders are on this line. Can you bring me 2 elbows, please? Okay. Perpendicular is this little road right here between his shoulders. Okay? Now, this little guy brings his hands to the outside, and he brings them to this point. His hands are right basically here. All right, I'm going to drop these just a little bit. As he starts bringing his hands in, his hands are actually going to come closer to it just a little bit. There's a little bit, almost like a heart. And this is the little part. This actually swings from here to here. This position in here is where I want to be. All right? If I'm here, he can't touch me. Okay? But if I'm a couple degrees off, it's got to go that way. Because I'm outside this one. You see, if you still match those hopples there, or vice versa. I'm still angled at him right, but man, I'm not in the right angle. So this is B90. If I flop it to 85, I flop it to 110, we're going to get hit. I need to stay in this roadway here. All right? So if you, that's what I'm saying, stay square, stay in between the perpendicular to his shoulder line. All right, now I'm good. I'm pretty good. I think you may get my nose. Not quite. But man, if I honestly just change my angle by about, he's got me with that right here.
You look down, you look top down. So some of you know this, some of you may not, but you look down at the top of the human body, and it's not in that threat zone of the arms.
Right.
And it is not a circle, it's an oval.
Right.
And the longest diameter of the oval represents, yeah, exactly, this right here. And if I were to grab a tape measure and measure from here to there, even just from there to there, I'm going to get a much longer value. I'm going to get less than half that value from here to here.
And do we know why? Do you know why? Do you know why? This isn't an equation anymore. When I'm all like this 6 inches from here to here, hence another foot on the outside of my oval, because now this comes into play is on the same line. When I bend the these are not on play anymore, I can certainly not foot off that, or maybe a couple feet if I'm nicely drawn. All right, now I'm just using my shoulder to hand. This is the whole wingspan.
It's the difference between your neck and collarbone.
Right.
Out to the shoulder.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So
Like that,
imagine.
and remember, you are like this. You're maximized. They're minimized.
Everyone sees Lana running around the dojo a lot. She's got this big wide chest.
Yeah.
I bet you her paw reaching up here is going to be much, much shorter than her if she could. She's a dog. If she were to reach out her paw straight sideways. What we're doing is we're taking the longest part of our oval, the longest threat, which is adding this distance plus this distance against their shortest distance. Oh man, if you've got long arms, you're like really safe.
Now, if I keep myself here and I play him,
Yep. Now we
how
got
far
our
he goes out. Because I just put this into the equation. Not in the equation anymore. He still is though. And that's a problem. I mean, nothing. It's good.
See, if I'm in the same position I do this,
Yep, you just shrunk.
well, not only does my alignment suck, but
And then I can come in. And I can right? So see, it's math in motion, physics. All right. So again, a couple more motions. You're trying to get between here. Understand? Go.
Good night, guys.
See ya. Can you give me 2 seconds, Miles? Drop that. So he's got to run. So he's a good man. Before he left, for these. Oh, jeez. And don't get me wrong, I may keep you for years. But you deserve it. You're moving very well. The next phase and the next phases after this are incredibly important because it's the all-inclusive and kind of one-off stuff, and then back to the actual foundation stuff. Like this, whole nine yards. You ain't still, I'll make you another belt. Okay, those are important, but congratulations. Yeah.
thank you. Any last questions? So first off, Hank, how was that for you today? What stones did we leave unturned for you?
See you, man.
Okay, so this is like,
Yeah.
so.
Is it a little clearer how loose it is?
Yes, it's one thing that was I guess a bit of a challenge today was being able to do a bunch of positions like A, I was trying to get the movement down. And then on top of that it was the repetition and then trying to add a lot of repetition with the command. So it's like I find myself fumbling, trying to catch up because the directions and then where my body's moving on. So
That's okay. Well, here's the nice thing. That's where literally go take a speed square or a carpenter square, go lay out a 3-foot square and paint or dirty and your sticks anywhere and just practice that on your own. That sort of thing is immensely valuable because it's teaching a good type to do it. It's teaching a lot of the similar footwork patterns that you're going to see in a lot of stuff, which is typically wide, narrow. There's other patterns of footwork. I've seen yoga Ruki kind of works narrow wide, but you can literally put yourself in repetition as you do it. You start to feel more comfortable with where your body is because it's not a case of not knowing how to do it. It's a case of your type of work.
I guess overall I feel more comfortable today after now. Feel more comfortable how to do my body now.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. If you have any more questions, give us a ring. Let us know.
This improvement can work anywhere in these situations. That's it.
Yeah, well, and you've dealt with some of your own challenges that you have like just your own physical, and great as well. Hey, this is how we learn more about how all of this stuff works. That's why I'm not trying to be technical or impressive when I try to talk about things like 80 ducks or 80 ducks. We're talking about that because I want you guys to understand all of this variables. Jeez, Louise, move on already. Yeah, so trying to give it to that way you can look at something and say like, oh, I understand what that slide is. And you can look at it later on and know how to adjust those sliders. Good. Jack?
Understanding how just even the body weight shift, figures into that. It's so good to kind of bring it right back to, okay, can I get the movement, can I be in the place, can I just have that level of comfort so that I know exactly what I'm doing.
Well, it's an interesting thing because so speaking of, I remember the exact what we were talking about, where we were talking about the difference between being here and just being here with the upper body, and that second part taking you just out of range, and the first part leaving you just in range. Because you have the right position, at the right angle, or right alignment, I should say, but you're just short. And so what happens is you take something and you lean it 5 degrees, and it doesn't make much of a difference in terms of distance laterally with other objects until about halfway up. But by the time you get up super high, it's really far away. So your head being up here, just this much will lean, move your head out of that extra bit of range, right? And all you need is 2 or 3 inches. All you need is 2 or 3 inches in a fight to really make a big difference in things. I'm glad that this picked up a spot for you with that. Ms. Heidi, any thoughts? Okay.
What
yellow belts can move the way you move, and so basically that just tells me that you're definitely no longer. I know. Everyone's excited. It's exciting. And in addition, because I'm right here, in a very giving you must be my birthday, for your birthdays. It's lit. You've worked really super hard the last bunch of months to work on your mobility in and through it. I'm saying your footwork to be able to get what out of do it. I see it. If we go back to Lynn of, let's say, January, who was pissed off, frustrated, hard, trying to come in at hard, trying to do it with strength, as opposed to trying to do it with skill and grace and not being so hard on yourself. We just looked at just that aspect alone, leaps and bounds ahead. And on top of that, because of all that, your movement and everything is going good. I remember there was a day a couple weeks ago, I think you were with Chris and Jesse, one of the big guys, and you're just moving around taking it down. Where before, go back a bunch of like, how can I possibly do this against them? Are you kidding me? And you try to go harder, you try to go faster, and it just would not work. And now it's like, okay, you get the confidence that like, I'll just take them down. But when I screw up because they didn't go down as hard as I want them to. So this is big time stuff. I'm not saying those aren't good, but this is like, oh good, now I can be picky. Now I can be really picky. Now I want to start to see glimpses of the person that I know you can be. Alright? And I'm starting to get some amazing pieces of that. Because I'm seeing your movement not be as staccato. The Jackie superhero pose is not getting posed quite as much. You understand the art. You understand the physical movement very well. So you actually know how a lot of people are doing that. Now I want to see Jackie like beat you. Alright? I want to see Jackie going from Jackie, the person that's going to help the UK, to Jackie's being selfish and going to train. Alright? Because I want to see you be able to go in there and just say, alright, come at me. Come at me, let's go. I want you to face those fears a little bit. Like that one we had a couple weeks ago, where like, I'm gonna make you feel scared. I'm gonna make you feel scared. I wanna see that. And I want you to because you have the fiery spirit, and sometimes the confidence isn't there to back it up, so you try to adjust with it with extra fire. Well, the confidence should be kind of knowing, okay, I don't have to use fire all the time. Alright? But you still have the fiery spirit. You say, come on, let's go. And I want them to be like, alright? So I want to see Jackie be really selfish in the next bunch of months, going, okay, what can I do? How do I make it better? 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 Like, it felt okay, but then I'm going to say, no, this. All right? But you definitely now deserve the right for that pickings. Congratulations. And Lana, I'll buy you a new dog collar. All right. So, guys, any last questions, thoughts, concerns? Okay, everyone, have a great weekend. I'll have you on Wednesday. I'll be back on Saturday on the Sunday. Just help again. You picked one. Then you're going to be Wednesday, right? Yes. You get to pick Wednesday's class. Let Mr. LeBay know.
Should we message on Facebook?
Yeah. All right. All right, guys. Have a good rest of the weekend.
All right. Yeah. Ow! I was kneeling on the
Cutting that blood flow down?
Yeah.
That's fun.